I guess when you kind of look at this game, you really can't underestimate the importance of how big of a moment this type of game is right now at this time.
Yeah, I mean, now lately we're going to play a lot of Metro games. I mean, those games are obviously more important in a way because we can climb the ladder a little more against those teams. Especially now we have Columbus today and then playing them again in a few days. So it's a team that's been chasing us for a little bit now, and it's up to us to start getting some ground here and pile up some wins.
How much of what you guys did in Philly, different type of opponent, sort of is that building block? And what did you like? Sheldon really talked about that shift to shift that you guys have really been trying to find for a while now.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what it was. I think throughout all the four lines, we're being committed. We did a good job without the puck. We kind of limit their big grade A chances, and we got some big goals out of that too. So that's obviously going to be what we got to continue doing here.
The lineup looked a little bit different at practice at morning skate. You're kind of on that line with Halsey and Glass. How important is sort of that 5-on-5 play for every line right now, especially against a team like Columbus who really thrive there?
Yeah, obviously it's very important. They got a lot of good skaters that really knows how to score. So obviously like I said, the consistency all through the lines is going to be really important. I think Halsey and Glasser had a really good game last game, so it's going to be exciting to get to play with them and get into tonight.
I think it kind of helps with a little bit of the balance and depth when you can roll four lines and have kind of some offensive threats and stuff there.
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes it's good to switch up the lines a little bit and get everything spread out a little bit, and especially against a team like we're playing today that have four lines they can all score.
Dilly, it's kind of hard to understate how important this game is. It's a Metro team, a team that is right on your tail. What's sort of the feeling going into this here?
Yeah, it's a big game. We understand the situation, standings, the time of year, all that sort of stuff. So I think for our group, the meetings we've had and what we've been talking about the last week and a bit now is we're having to play playoff hockey now. We're in a fight, and we're going to be in a fight for the rest of the year, basically, to try and get in.
Result aside, which was positive in Philly, did you feel that type of energy, that type of commitment that you're talking about there?
Yeah, I thought so. I thought for the most part, anytime you're playing an interdivision game, and a game in the NHL in general, to get wins in this league is hard. Every team's got skill. Every team's power plays are good. It really just comes down to the details of stuff, which is what we're trying to harp on. Face-offs, our special teams have been something we've kind of hung our hat on all year that needs to be good for us to be able to continue winning. But the Philadelphia game, we give up that goal late, and we're still able to find a way to regroup, to have a good next shift, which is something that we want to build on.
Short sample size, how's it been with Cholowski so far?
Yeah, one game. Cholo's a guy who he's just obviously trying to continue building on that. We have now practiced together and a game, so he's great to play with. He's got a great head on his shoulders. He made some great outlet passes. He's obviously got some offense and knows how to shoot the puck and whatnot. So just try and build on that, and just a good person off the ice, getting it all.
When you're playing with when you're playing with another lefty like Cholowski, does that change what you have to do at all, or do you have to pass?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot different. You're passing behind a guy instead of in front of a guy. I've been playing with a righty for basically 60 games, but I think those are all things too. As you play more games, it just becomes second nature to understand, hey, you're playing with a lefty now. Communication becomes even more vital, and I'm comfortable playing the offside too if we get crossed up on a shift or something like that. So again, I think just committing to wanting to get better. It's new systems for him, and he's come in with the right attitude, which is all you can really ask for.
When you signed with the team, one of the players you knew was Timo Meyer from San Jose.
Yeah.
What can you tell me about type of player he was then to now? And do you still? I mean, to me, he's like that 5-tool guy. He can hit, block shots, goals, points. What are you seeing out of Timo as far as what he's pushing? And does he get better this time of year? And if possibly playoffs?
Yeah, for sure. That's why he gets paid the big bucks. He's those guys that can kind of do everything. Timo can play the physical brand of hockey, play the skill brand of hockey. He's got the speed to play that style too. So I got to see young Timo, and I've seen now an established veteran Timo that's kind of more in like a leadership, guys looking up to him role that we need him to be on his best every night. And I think that's something that we had great leadership and culture in San Jose that he learned from the Joe Thorntons and Patrick Marleau's, Joe Pavelski's, Logan Couture's, these guys that we always seem to reminisce on the Sharks days, but we had a lot of success there in playoffs too. Stanley Cup finals, conference finals, and so Timo knows what it's like to play at this time of year in important games, and he's been playing outstanding hockey lately. He's been physical. He's been leading the way for that. When he's shooting the puck, and he's just such a bull to handle. You see how big he is off the ice, on the ice too. So we're definitely lucky to have Timo, and especially a guy like him playing this time of the year.
Is he an emotional guy on the bench, like on the ice? Does he get emotional?
Yeah, guys show emotions in different ways, right? Like them caring. Some guys will break sticks when things aren't going well. Some guys slam gates. Some guys are yelling and screaming. And I think for Timo, for the most part, he's pretty calm, cool, and collected. He's I'm obviously not on the forward side to see him shift to shift how he is, but. I think for the most part, Timo's an emotional guy that definitely wants to win and have his best.
Going back to Columbus, they've been very opportunistic offensively since the break. And going back to the Philly game, I felt like you guys did a great job boxing out and limiting the second efforts in front of Allen. Did you feel that way, and how do you look to build on that going into this team?
Well, that's Columbus's MO. They score a lot of goals, lots and lots of goals. They've got lots of offense this year. Kind of guys on all four lines that can score, and Zach Werenski, who's been playing probably some of the best hockey of his career. So when you're on the ice, I think for us, we've just got to realize who you're out there against, and I think for the most part, our team identity this year has been defense. Like defending, goaltending's been incredible, and just kind of that commitment to that, which our power play's been great, which has given us the offense when we need to. And we've got to kind of almost take a page out of Columbus and be opportunistic ourselves. When teams turn it over, when teams get caught in bad situations, we've got to make them pay. And again, realize that's what they're trying to do to us. So it's going to be as playoff-like of a game, I'm sure, as we've seen so far this year. Games are getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and they're only going to get tougher as we get down the stretch.
Sheldon, I guess it can't really be understated how significant a game. I know they're all significant going forward, but particularly this one, a team chasing you who's been hot since January. How do you kind of, address the team going into this one?
Yeah, I think, just that you're asking me about it, players themselves know, but of course we talk about it. This one's a little different, with what's at stake, and before you know it, we're going to be down to the single digits in games, and these games are certainly matter. And as you mentioned, it's a team that's built a lot of momentum up and is feeling good and can score goals seemingly at will if you're not prepared. So lots of reasons for us to be dialed in today, no question.
You moved down, watching morning skate, you have Bratt in that new spot there with Haula and Glass. What do you need from Jesper right now? Really hasn't scored in a month. He still does other things really well, but are you trying to get him going a little bit there?
I'm not really worried about Bratt at this point. He's played really well. It's more, obviously, me getting Cotter back in.
Yeah.
And trying to find the way to get him in and have it all kind of jive and work. And I liked our lineup the other day. But big game here today, and Cott's is coming off a healthy scratch, and you got to change it up a little bit to do that. So kind of start moving the pieces around a little bit, and the Glass line was so influential in our previous game, and you want to kind of capitalize on that momentum. So you don't want that line to take a step back, right. Despite me disrupting and taking Sprong out. So with that said, I just thought Bratt would be a good fit there to kind of keep that line's momentum going. Mm-hmm. I really liked Tatar with Mercer and Palat when we were using that. So the pieces just kind of fall into place. The more you move them around and you stare at it long enough, and you find one that sort of makes sense as much as you can with the situation, given that I wanted to get Cotter back in today.
What are you seeing from Dawson Mercer at center now? Is he's going to need to be there every night and all the responsibilities that come with the center?
Yeah, I think he's looking comfortable with it. I think in playing center, it's kind of forced him to skate more, which I think has helped him just feel a little bit freer in the game. That's just my own perception. I haven't necessarily spoken to him about that, but that's what I see from him. He's played that a little bit. We've dabbled here and there with it, but obviously giving him a bit of a stretch here now, and wasn't quite sure, whether we were going to keep him there with Glass coming in or move him to the wing. And we might try that at some point too. But for right now, we kind of like it, and especially the way things went the other day and the way we had sort of designed it was thinking that the Glass group could start to become a difference maker for us offensively and give the opposition a little bit of a different look. So Mercer's ability to play that position and play against good players and doing it really makes it a little bit more of a challenge for the opposition to manage with their 3D pairs.
Coach, for as much as Timo Meier, his game is known for, and what he's been able to do, and by that I mean whether it be goals, points, hits, block shots, do you feel as though he needs to show more in what he's doing? Because I know sometimes shift to shift that's hard to do, to maintain what he's able to do. And I know it's a...
Yeah, I mean, we think he can produce at a higher rate. Don't think he's been short on chances or shots or anything like that. Some more pucks could fall for him. Some of that is difficult. You got to kind of recalibrate yourself a little bit. You start to lose your power play time throughout this season, and you're sort of trying to find yourself. A lot of offensive players really count on that, and I recognize that. That's part of the reality. Of course, we just made the decision after trying Timo on that first unit for the first part of the season that we liked a different look that we had a lot of success with. But now things have shifted back again, obviously with the injuries and a lot of things running through Timo now. So we expect that to increase his puck touches and just his overall offensive feel, which we hope there's some benefits from. I think he's showing signs of that. But yeah, no question, he's a difference maker. But I do like a lot of the other things he's done in his game. So there's, you don't want to draw too much attention to it, but obviously we're a team that needs more goals. So we need to find ways to do that without sacrificing our structure or attention to detail defensively, because keeping the puck out of our net has also been a staple of ours throughout the season. So we've seen great strides in Timo's game in that regard, but obviously you'd like to find that balance where he can remain consistent defensively and managing the game, but also break through offensively.
Talking a little bit more about Columbus, I know Amanda alluded to it, been really strong since January, opportunistic offensively, and your team has been sound defensively for most of the year, but particularly against Philly, did a really good job, all five guys collapsing, boxing out, and limiting second efforts for Philly. What did you like about that area specifically from your group, and how do you replicate that?
Yeah, I thought it was a real disciplined game in that regard. Philly is one of the most dangerous offensive teams in the league on the rush. And we did a really nice job. We made a few mistakes at different times where they got behind us or some odd numbers that, we had talked about in the game and again today. But for the most part, we were really committed to defending against the rush and not giving them, opportunities to play with control to the neutral zone. And then, as you say, we did collapse well to the net, be it with layers to prevent passes to the slot or to block shots and clean up any point shots so there was no rebounds in there. So it's going to take more of that. This Columbus team is, as you say, very opportunistic. They've got, I think, is it 5 20-goal scorers or something like that. They've got many people that can hurt you on different lines, and their defense involvement. Werenski's having a terrific season, and the game is a lot different when he's on the ice for them, which tends to be about half the game. So it's there's lots of challenges there and lots of things that are going well that we're going to have to be attentive to tonight.
A game breaker like that on defense, like Werenski, how does that tax your structure in a way that's maybe different than an elite forward would tax your structure?
The difference is that you not to say you forget about them, because of course you're aware when you're on the ice against a talent like that, but they show up in spots that you maybe are not expecting. All of a sudden, they get real aggressive and can pick off a puck or can join a rush and jump into a hole that you maybe don't anticipate. It happened to us just the other day in Philadelphia. You know, it was Drysdale jumps up and into a spot that you maybe didn't quite expect a defenseman to, and then the structure's caught off guard a little bit. So hopefully that's a bit of a teaser for us in the Philly one that we can be aware of today. But he's so good at finding those spots and picking pucks off and catching you when you're vulnerable. Because you think you're on offense, and all of a sudden the play deteriorates, and then he's in an offensive spot, and he's so elite at making plays or finishing plays. So that's what the best offensive defensemen do, and he's certainly at the top of the list right now.